She has done the world premiere episode of actually being on someone else's podcast. And the someone else her name is Jamie Kern Lima.
It was a moment Meghan Markle's PR team praised never sees daylight. In a jaw-dropping appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett didn't hold back. In a blunt, unscripted exchange during a segment promoting her podcast Confessions of a Female Founder, Crockett referred to Prince Harry not by name, but as that man. The studio audience gasped, and the meaning wasn't lost on anyone. What followed was a merciless verbal takedown of Meghan's hollow feminism.
In England, more than half the television audience watched, and the press there is adding more detail to the story of that confrontation between Duchess Kate and Meghan.
Performative activism, and most damningly, her increasingly fractured marriage. It says it all, Crockett added, her tone both dismissive and deadly, that she refers to him like that. That marriage is broken, and everybody knows it. There are media moments that slip by unnoticed, and then there are moments that hit like a cultural wrecking ball. What happened on Jimmy Kimmel Live was the latter. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, an unapologetic political force and rising Democratic star.
We don't know how much damage they're causing. Like, when I tell you that the level of incompetence is almost like incomprehensible,
delivered one of the most humiliating blows to Meghan Markle's public image. And she did it with a single surgical phrase. That man. She didn't call him Prince Harry. Not my husband. Not the Duke. Not even Harry. She called him that man. A dismissal so casual, so distant, and yet so deeply revealing that the entire studio audience paused. And so did the internet. Because that wasn't just shade. It was a cultural statement. A statement that symbolized exactly what the world has been suspecting for months. The fairy tale is over. The glamour is gone. And the Meghan Harry brand is cracking under its own fraudulent weight. Now, this wasn't an obscure remark on a gossip blog or a whisper in some LA yoga circle.
I haven't really scraped the surface on my experience, but I do think that I would never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans, and I would never want someone else to not be believed.
This came from Jasmine Crockett, a sitting U.S. representative, a woman of influence, a woman who has navigated real power structures. She didn't need to say much. Her tone said it all. Condescension, exasperation, and the kind of disappointment that can only come from watching someone pretend to stand for empowerment while practicing manipulation. Let's be clear, Crockett didn't need to name names. The crowd knew who she meant. The media knew. The world knew. She referred to Prince Harry not as a husband, not as a partner, but as an afterthought. As if he were some side character in Meghan's solo act of self-importance. And when she followed that brutal phrase with the line,
I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it.
It says it all. That marriage is broken. She wasn't gossiping. She was observing. She was connecting dots. She was doing what millions of viewers have done for months. Looking at Meghan and Harry's strange public behavior and seeing through the PR nonsense. This wasn't just humiliation. It was confirmation. Confirmation that Meghan Markle, who once styled herself as the next global humanitarian icon, is rapidly becoming a cautionary tale.
There is more than enough attention on me and my wife anyway. They pushed me too far. It got to a point where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
A woman who fumbled the biggest platform on earth, burned every bridge behind her, and now can't even count on polite references to her marriage on American television. It speaks volumes that Crockett, a prominent black woman, a political powerhouse, someone who should be in Meghan's natural corner, has no interest in shielding her. Instead, she joined the growing chorus of people, especially women of color, who are tired of Meghan's exploitation of race, feminism, and victimhood for personal branding. And the setting? Let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel Live. This wasn't some fringe YouTube channel. This was mainstream.
Meanwhile, she grew up in a nice family. She didn't talk like this 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she sounded like you and I sound in this conversation. Like she's graduated to acting like a thug. So congratulations. Your term in the U.S. Congress is going really well, swimmingly.
Have you been to a MAGA rally where Trump is mocking a disabled?
Prime time, late night TV, a place where cultural moments are made. Crockett's appearance was supposed to be about policy and podcasting, but in that one brutal aside, she exposed the performative wrought underneath Meghan's crumbling royal fantasy. Meghan Markle once imagined herself as America's Princess Diana. But here we are. A sitting congresswoman just reduced her love story to a meme, and her husband to an anonymous footnote. That man, she said. And with those 2 words, Meghan Markle's illusion of royal reinvention came crashing down in front of millions. Let's break down the phrase again. That man. On the surface, it sounds harmless, but in public discourse, that kind of language is anything but neutral. It's cold, it's dismissive, and it's designed to create emotional distance. This is what linguists call deictic distancing.
Now, I mean, it is rich. And let me tell you, I have been very, very out there on criticizing Trump for that disgusting rhetoric that has coarsened the language around politics. It's what she did was disgusting. And I am not going to accept her spin of this. It's disgusting and gross to mock someone who is disabled just because.
When someone refers to a close person or concept in vague or detached terms, in everyday relationships, that kind of language signals frustration, even contempt. Meghan Markle, the woman who married into royalty, has reportedly used that phrase herself in private and podcast settings. And now, we hear it echoed by Representative Jasmine Crockett on live television. It's not a coincidence. Crockett didn't make it up. She mirrored the tone Meghan herself has reportedly adopted behind closed doors. A tone of exasperation toward her husband. That man isn't just a jab at Prince Harry. It's a symptom of something deeper, something rotting beneath the surface of this so-called royal marriage. Now, let's move to the real catastrophe. Meghan's attempt to rebrand herself with her new podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. This was supposed to be her comeback, a chance to rise from the ashes of her Spotify failure.
I'm not here for this, and please do better. Please, this cannot be the answer for the future of the Democratic Party.
I mean, I think actions speak louder than words. In this instance, I think we have a president who, when the plane crash happened in Washington, D.C., he blamed it on people with disabilities.
Reintroduce herself as a powerhouse and finally prove that she didn't need the monarchy. But instead, it's becoming a public relations disaster. The podcast that was marketed as a platform for truth and sisterhood is now highlighting the cracks in Meghan's own narrative. On that very podcast, Meghan has been caught doing what she always does, controlling the narrative, manufacturing inspiration, and painting herself as the eternal victim. But this time, people aren't buying it. When Jasmine Crockett appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live and made that icy reference to Harry, it wasn't just entertainment, it was a cultural diagnosis. Because for all Meghan's talk of female empowerment, she has yet to empower anyone but herself. She plays the role of feminist founder while exploiting her proximity to royalty. She talks about lifting women up, but offers nothing. No real mentorship, no real movement, no real vision. It's all branded fluff. #activism with no backbone. That's why Crockett's remarks stung. Because they came from a real leader. A woman who actually does the work. A woman who didn't need to raise her voice or insult Meghan to make a point. She simply observed Meghan's behavior and publicly called out the performance behind the brand. This podcast was supposed to fix Meghan's image. Instead, it's opening the floodgates. Politicians, cultural critics, and even former allies are now calling her out. Openly and unapologetically. And when the people who once supported you begin to roll their eyes at your marriage, your message, and your methods. You're no longer a media darling. You're a walking contradiction. And Meghan Markle, the self-styled Duchess of Disruption, is now facing the harshest truth of all. Her own voice, amplified by the wrong words, is dismantling everything she built. Let's talk about the greatest irony in Meghan Markle's entire public persona.
That autism is a threat to the American way of life, which is a disability. Apparently, the White House has ended ASL, American Sign Language, questioning and gutting Social Security, which a lot of disabled people rely on, Medicaid, Medicare, people rely on.
The empowerment narrative. She has relentlessly marketed herself as a beacon for women, a champion of equality, and a voice for the voiceless. Yet the most damning criticisms she's now facing aren't coming from tabloids or royalists. They're coming from powerful, successful women who see through her facade. Jasmine Crockett, a congresswoman, a legal powerhouse, a real trailblazer. Everything Meghan pretends to be. When Crockett dismissed Harry as that man and followed it up with a cold truth, that marriage is broken, she wasn't just throwing shade. She was doing what so many women in power are starting to do, calling out Meghan Markle's hypocrisy. Because here's the truth, Meghan's female empowerment brand rings hollow when it's stacked up against real women doing real work. Crockett's critique hit harder not because she's mean, but because she's credible. She doesn't need a Netflix deal, a Spotify contract, or a fake royal title to assert her power. She has it. She earned it. And most of all, she lives it. Meghan, on the other hand, has made a career out of victimhood, not leadership. Think about it. Every time Meghan faces criticism, she retreats into the same tired playbook. Racism, sexism, the British press, unconscious bias. And yet, when given global platforms,
Actions speak louder than words, and the policies of the Republican, including undermining special education, ID, the individual with disability, and that you're not going to be accessible. Those are the actions of this administration. Those are the actions of the Republican Party. I would rather folks be demonizing those things than...
Whether it's Oprah, Spotify, Netflix, or her latest podcast, she delivers nothing but shallow stories, self-praise, and vague anecdotes of struggle that never seem to add up under scrutiny. She claims to speak for women, but who, exactly, is she lifting? Her staff? Former aides have accused her of bullying. Her fans? She sells them polished trauma, while living in a Montecito mansion. Her peers? Jasmine Crockett's public jab proves that powerful women aren't feeling inspired. They're feeling insulted by Meghan's opportunism. Let's be even more precise here. Meghan launched Confessions of a Female Founder to reframe herself as a businesswoman, a mogul. But what business? What is she building? There is no product, no startup, no tangible offering. The show is just another stage to repackage her favorite character, herself. And it's backfiring, because instead of elevating other women, she's using their stories as a mirror to reflect her own frustrations. Crockett saw it. Millions are seeing it. This isn't leadership. This isn't service. This is self-obsession disguised as activism. And here's where it gets really bad for Meghan. The language she uses is becoming evidence against her. Over the past few months, people close to her have noted that her tone when speaking about Harry has shifted.
A disability, as a person who has family members with a disability, as a person who has taught children with a disability. That is not acceptable. She said that's not what she was doing, and so I know Jasmine, and I believe Jasmine if that's what she was saying.
She's new. She's young, and she's trying to find her way. I think that this...
She no longer describes him as her partner. She says things like, he's finding himself, he's adjusting, he's taking time. It's the language of distance, of separation, of disinterest. Now, when someone like Jasmine Crockett picks up on that tone, internalizes it, and throws it back in the public arena, it's not just a soundbite. It's confirmation that the cracks in the Markle-Windsor brand are no longer subtle. They're gaping. And let's not forget this. Meghan's entire public rise post-royalty has been built on controlled interviews, cherry-picked sound bites, and heavily edited truth-telling. But Crockett didn't need editing. She didn't need a producer. In a matter of seconds, she gave the world a blunt, unscripted reality check. It's now clear that even Meghan's own words, her own branding, are betraying her. The tone she uses, the detachment in her language, the way she reportedly refers to Harry in closed circles, it's all leaking out. And the moment a congresswoman casually repeats that detachment on national television, the illusion collapses. Because once your own vocabulary becomes the punchline, the narrative is no longer yours. So, where does that leave Meghan Markle? A failed podcast queen, a fading celebrity, a woman clinging to a brand of feminism that no longer resonates with the very women she claimed to represent. Jasmine Crockett didn't just shade her marriage. She exposed the hollowness of the entire Markle narrative. And now, the world is listening. By the time Jasmine Crockett dropped that withering phrase, "that man," on national TV, it was no longer a rogue opinion. It was the public confirmation of what many already sensed. Prince Harry has become a background character in a story that's no longer about love, royalty, or legacy. It's now about brand survival. Meghan Markle's brand. And the most damning part, Meghan's entire empire was built on the idea of love conquering all. Remember the fairy tale? The feminist actress who married the prince, stood up to the monarchy, and fought back against the press? That myth is falling apart, and Harry's role in it has shrunk to the point of irrelevance. But here's where the real damage unfolds. Poll after poll shows Meghan and Harry's popularity in the US has plummeted. According to Redfield and Wilton Strategies, Meghan's favorability dropped below zero in 2024. Even liberal-leaning outlets that once championed her are walking back their support. What once seemed like a progressive fairy tale is now viewed as narcissistic performance art. The problem isn't just overexposure, it's emptiness. People are realizing that for all the interviews, all the docuseries, all the podcasts and candid revelations, Meghan has said a lot without really saying anything. It's the same recycled narrative. Victimhood, silence, racism triumph. Lather, rinse, repeat. But America is shifting, and it's craving authenticity, not glossy, designer-fitted grievance. Let's talk posture. Let's talk tone. Let's talk Meghan on red carpets, at panels, or on her podcast. She no longer refers to Prince Harry with warmth, admiration, or even respect. She speaks of him like a burden, a figure from a different chapter, someone she's waiting on to evolve. Body language experts, including Judy James and Blanca Cobb, have observed this in numerous public appearances. Meghan leans away. She speaks over him. She glances at him with impatience rather than affection. And when he speaks, she often interrupts or redirects the focus back to herself. This isn't tabloid gossip. It's documented behavior. And it's telling. When a woman like Jasmine Crockett, sharp-poised, intelligent, casually repeats that emotional distance on television, calling Harry that man, she's not making a dig. She's vocalizing what the world sees, but Meghan refuses to acknowledge. The emotional unraveling of a marriage that was never about love, but leverage. Meghan wanted a platform. Harry was the shortcut. And now, as the glow fades and scrutiny intensifies, the disdain shows. The hypocrisy is staggering. Meghan rails against patriarchy, but used a prince to gain global relevance. She speaks of holding space for others, but rarely holds it for her own husband. She brands herself as emotionally intelligent, but displays the cold calculus of someone managing an asset, not nurturing a relationship. And Jasmine Crockett, knowingly or not, just held up a mirror to that contradiction. When a marriage is so publicly dissected that its own language betrays its reality, when even your allies speak of your husband as that man, you're no longer controlling the narrative. You're its cautionary tale. We're not watching a power couple ascend. We're watching a brand collapse under its own arrogance. And every time someone like Jasmine Crockett speaks out, Meghan loses another piece of the illusion she worked so hard to build. The question now isn't whether the public believes in Meghan Markle. The question is, does she believe in anything besides herself? As we reach the final chapters of this unraveling public saga, one thing is glaringly obvious. Meghan Markle is no longer the heroine of her own story. Once seen as a disruptor, a modern duchess, a voice for the voiceless, she is now caught in a vortex of overexposure, self-inflicted wounds, and a crumbling narrative that no longer resonates with the very audience she once captivated. And at the center of this downward spiral stands not just Meghan, but the man she once proudly called her teammate. Now reduced to that man, a disposable sidekick in a performance that's lost its applause. Let's be honest, in today's world, authenticity is currency. Women, especially ambitious professional women, can spot the difference between a genuine advocate and a self-serving opportunist. Meghan marketed herself as a female founder, a pioneer for women in media and leadership. But where are the results? Where's the company? Where's the innovation? Where's the measurable impact? Compare her to women like Jessica Alba, who built a billion-dollar clean living brand, or Reese Witherspoon, who launched a media empire spotlighting women's voices. Meghan's track record, by contrast, is riddled with short-lived projects, failed partnerships, and headline-chasing distractions. The podcast with Spotify, canceled after one season. Netflix, a few polished but hollow shows, one of which, Pearl, was scrapped entirely. And now Confessions of a Female Founder? Instead of being a platform for empowerment, it's become an echo chamber for her personal frustrations. And no moment highlighted that more than Jasmine Crockett's dry, unflinching line. That man. It was brutal, it was dismissive, and it was reflective of how many see Meghan's brand today. Style without substance, sentiment without sincerity. Think about that. For a couple that built their post-royal identity on the power of their love story, being reduced to a one-liner on Jimmy Kimmel Live is a reputational earthquake. The fairy tale is over. The veil is lifted. And now, even celebrities and politicians are beginning to treat their relationship not with reverence, but with satire. This isn't just tabloid drama anymore. It's cultural commentary. When the American left, people like Crockett, who represent the very demographic Meghan depends on, start distancing themselves, mocking her dynamic with Harry, and questioning the authenticity of her mission, it spells the beginning of the end. Because if Meghan can't even convince her natural base, educated, progressive, socially conscious women, that she's genuine, then who exactly is still buying what she's selling? The most dangerous thing for any public figure isn't criticism, it's indifference. And when your marriage, your podcast, and your platform become material for late-night comedy and political sarcasm, the message is clear. People have stopped believing you. And the moment your image becomes a meme instead of a movement, you're no longer a leader, you're a liability. What Jasmine Crockett did wasn't just a throwaway joke. It was a cultural gut punch, a signal that Meghan Markle's carefully constructed house of cards is no longer inspiring awe. It's collapsing under scrutiny. Because no matter how many titles you claim, causes you adopt, or microphones you grab, if the world starts referring to your husband as that man, you haven't just lost control of the narrative. You've lost the plot.